We were right. Yes, if you are one of the people who has been on the bandwagon of that, maybe Meghan Markle is not all she appears to be. It seems like the mainstream news media is finally catching on to that, despite being labeled so many istophobes and isms and everything. If you are not a fan of Meghan Markle, it seems like the media has finally caught on to the fact that, well, maybe some of those claims are not correct, and that in fact, Meghan is her biggest problem. Meghan Markle herself, her behavior, her actions, her treatment of her family, her in laws, so many different things has culminated in a very negative perception of Meghan Markle that has nothing to do with the color of her skin and everything to do with the content of her character. And we see this reflected in a Newsweek article and so many other pieces talking about and recognizing that, hey, there's been a long list of pieces that have come out that have criticized Meghan Markle and how even some of the Sussexes' most ardent defenders are sort of starting to turn on them. So I want to investigate this today because this is so important because it goes back to an issue that has been plaguing the mainstream news media for so long. That if you notice something, if your eyes see something, news media tell you to, oh, you're just imagining, oh, you're putting your own biases on X, Y, and Z situation, when in fact, you might be right. And in fact, years later, they'll go, yeah, you were always correct because the mainstream news media wants to spin things. But the reality is, we are the media. We were the ones on the story before the mainstream news outlets even got their ducks in a row. So we are going to look into this today and take maybe a little bit of a victory lap. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany, and I provide compelling royal commentary, including a lot of Meghan Markle leading up to this sort of magnificent moment. So if you guys are interested in hitting that subscribe button, that would be absolutely fabulous. We would love to have you back. And I want to specify real quick here that this is not to be negative or just saying we told you so and everything. This is just about recognizing that, hey, sometimes you observe something and you might be right, and other people might tell you other things, and they're simply there to gaslight you. But I have a really exciting thing today because I have some more unboxings from Ana Lucia Diamonds. And you might notice I'm not wearing other earrings today because I have a pair to unbox and I have a necklace too. So, guys, these are from their Golden Goddess collections. So, guys, these are gold pieces, no sans diamonds, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm so excited because I have been wanting, well, let's see. The earrings are definitely a type of pair I've been wanting for a long time. So, let's go ahead and check them out. We got them. They come in these different boxes. Oh, we have some gold hoop earrings. Guys, I am so excited for these. As I've gone through sort of my, you could say, fashion evolution slash journey, I have found that classic pieces tend to appeal to me more as I get older. And so this is a classic hoop is just so iconic. So, and these have a bit of a twist because they literally twist. Ah, there we go. Oh, so good. So good. All right, guys. So here we are. New earrings. Looking rather iconic and lovely today. And then we do have also as well a necklace. So I don't know which one this is quite. Oops. Ooh, oh, nice gold chain necklace here, guys. Because this can be like a part of a layering piece, which I think would be awesome. Oh, so let's go ahead and get this guy on here real quick. So if you can't tell, there we go. Some nice gold chain here. Very classic, very elegant. And we are going to do, oh, I forgot to take my other necklace off, but that's fine though. I was going to slip this under the collar, but I don't think it'd quite work. But this is amazing too, guys. I'm still wearing my heart necklace as well. I forgot to take it off, but I don't mind layering. I think layering is fun. Even with different gold tones, I think you can definitely mix and match your jewelry because this is white gold. The chain obviously is yellow gold. So guys, these are amazing pieces. If you want to check them out, feel free to follow the link up above. And if you use code ROYAL20, you shall save 20% on this purchase or any purchase on their website, including their jewelry cleaner. So if you guys want to check those out, feel free to do so because it is absolutely amazing. and iconic. I feel very fashionable. And I forgot to add, guys, for Valentine's Day, there is a very special offer with Ana Lucia. So if you spend $300, this is before using code Royal20 to save 20%, you can get a free diamond ring, which is from the Irresistible collection, which you can see right here. Yeah, this lasts until Valentine's Day or when quantities last. So guys, go ahead, check that out. Save 20%. If you spend over 300, get a free ring, guys. It is going to be absolutely incredible. So go ahead and check it out. But let's go ahead and get back into this video because it's been so fascinating to see other news outlets and especially Newsweek. Jack Royston, who's been writing about the royals for a while, he has very much been Team Sussex. Suddenly, or maybe slowly, start to turn. And really, the turn happened this year in 2025 because it started off, you could say, on a high for Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan. She was getting back on Instagram. She wrote 2025 in the sand. She was like totally on the social media high. And then the trailer dropped for her series and it got massively ratioed. I think I haven't looked recently, but I imagine the ratio is still about maybe 10% or so. Let's check it out. It currently has 184,000 downvotes to 19,000 upvote votes. So the ratio is about 10% they're like, which is not a surprise at all. And the reason that is there is because Meghan has a likability problem that has not gone away. It just continues to get worse and worse. And the downward spiral continued because people massively criticized it. It seemed wildly tone deaf in this new sort of modern era, you could say, especially post election. It just seemed really, really out of touch with the average person. And her going, well, it's not about perfection in her perfect kitchen with her perfect friends and her $50,000 worth of trinket jewelry. It's just not a message that I feel like connects to a lot of people. And so many people felt the exact same way. And then obviously she shared her dog passed away. And then we had the fires in California, which massively disrupted a lot of the things in Hollywood. And Meghan took that opportunity to, well, shuffle her show back several weeks. But at the same time, they were also labeled disaster tourists by Justine Bateman. And that has completely, literally destroyed them because what I think they have done in particular, and what I think they have always done since moving to the United States, which does not work, is attempting to be royals of the United States. And Hollywood, their own industry was like, no, no, we're not playing this game. We don't want you to fulfill that role because that role doesn't need to exist. And I feel like everything is sort of collapsing around them. Meta also revealed that it was doing away with fact checking and instead adopting a community notes style thing a la X. And it's because Facebook is massively failing in some ways compared to X, because X is where everybody goes for news, information. It is X. And X, as Elon Musk famously said, we are the media, or you are the media. You are the media. And on this issue, when it comes to Meghan Markle, that is 150% correct because people notice things from the jump. And for those who have been paying attention, they're like, hey, we see a couple of things. In her engagement interview, she's like, oh, there's no tabloids here in the States. And we're like, well, yes, they are. They're in the supermarket. We walk by them every day. And she claims she didn't do any research on him. And people are like, well, that doesn't make a ton of sense. And then as you watch, her father doesn't attend her wedding. The aisles of the cathedral are filled with famous faces that Meghan has either never met or met once in her life. And it became very, very, very clear very early on, even before all the negative stories started coming out, that Meghan Markle might be problematic. I actually thought this from the jump because the first thing she did when the news came out about her and Harry is tease the media. If you are the wife of the spare, you, by necessity, by your very foundation of your role, take a back seat. And she was immediately courting the press. And as time went on and everything sort of blew up, that instinct of hers wouldn't die. And that's why we get time and time and time again so many stories and regurgitating of old storylines that we heard eons ago. And we're getting those because Meghan fed the media from the jump. And everything after that, you could say, is a reflection of her insatiable need for attention and headlines, and hoping in particular that those headlines might always be positive. And she attempted to do this by blaming the entire UK media as racist. That's one of the first things she did, is that if you print a negative story about her, or if you say a negative thing about her, you must be racist. And when she smeared the entire British press with that, yes, it made them back off a smidge. But what it resulted in, and what she sort of piggybacked on for her Oprah Winfrey interview, was this idea that if you say anything negative about her, you must be racist. I mean, guys, think about Piers Morgan. He simply had met Meghan Markle, and when he heard her on the Oprah Winfrey interview, all he essentially said was, I don't believe her. He didn't believe her story about wanting to end her life and a couple other things. And he was just merely stating that. Maybe he got a little passionate about it, but he got smeared with this horrible label, kicked off his show and everything for just simply saying, hey, I have some questions. Some of this doesn't add up. And it had a knock on effect too, because just simply Sharon Osbourne saying, hey, I know Piers well, he's probably coming at this from a perspective we don't quite understand. She even got kicked off of her show. But that's the situation Meghan Markle created to make sure, or tried to avoid, people saying negative things about her, is to try and have this smear campaign, which has cost people their jobs, their livelihoods, because it's more important for her to have the upper hand than it is to recognize that, yeah, sometimes maybe people won't like you, won't believe you, and that's sometimes okay. You guys are not required to like what I say on here. You're not even required to agree with it. Would I ask you to listen respectfully and then maybe share your opinion in the comments? Yes. But Meghan doesn't want that. She wants control, and she wants to destroy anyone who doesn't go along with her view of the world. And I find that terribly sad. But as time has gone on, as people wake up to the character of Meghan Markle, they are finding out that no, maybe the British press were not on some sort of calculated smear campaign against Meghan Markle. The reality is, she is unliked because of Meghan Markle. Nobody else is to blame but Meghan Markle. So this is the truly fascinating thing, is that she tried to play this game for so long. And because a lot of the media are in the same, you could say, political camp, they played along with her narrative about that. They went along and helped sometimes smear people who said, well, maybe this doesn't make sense about Meghan. Hey, she has this story about throwing tea at somebody in Australia, which I heard years ago. Didn't totally believe it at the time, but essentially an aspect of that story must be true. I think it was Valentine Lowe or Tom Bauer, one of them printed a story about that, and Meghan has never sued. But yet, if you shared some of those stories, you were labeled a certain thing. And Meghan was completely and utterly complicit in that, because she was hoping that shield would contain her bad behavior. But the problem Meghan Markle never anticipated is that her bad behavior could no longer be contained after a certain point. That at some point, that along the way, people would realize, hey, she's not the person she claims to be. We have story after story, article after article of people saying, hey, yeah, maybe she portrays this thing in the press, in the public, but behind the scenes, you are dealing with somebody entirely different. She makes their lives miserable. She drives people to therapy. She comes across, quite frankly, as sort of not a nice person. And so, because of that, Meghan Markle's claims of victimhood are just seemingly not correct. She is very much somebody who has made other people's lives very difficult on a myriad of levels. And that's not only just with journalists, but anyone online who says something negative or is like trying to point out, hey, this doesn't make sense about Meghan. They are viciously attacked because Meghan Markle, in the process of setting up this smear campaign, I believe, my thought and opinion against journalists who maybe might write a negative headline has spurned the Sussex squad into being. She is really, I think, very much complicit in what they're doing. She has never told them not to attack, you could say, fans of the royal family or fans of Kate. She has never said anything, despite proclaiming numerous times that she is one of the most bullied people in the world and shouting her victim narratives from the rooftops. She never fails to not see the other victim. She is the only victim. And yet, I believe she leaves a trail of victims in her wake. The news media realized, hey, we can run interference for you at some point, but the writing's on the wall anymore. You've been labeled disaster tourists. There are numerous articles now about your terrible behavior, your inability to make good decisions, your horrible work ethic. Everybody sees that now. You cannot contain it. It's uncontainable. It's there. Everyone can see it. And us in the news media, hey, we did our part here and you failed to do yours. And as a result, everybody knows this is not a secret anymore. You can't label people who don't like you racist anymore because we can't contain it. We went along with it because we wanted to believe you. I don't fault people for wanting to believe her. But as time has revealed, she was perhaps never telling the truth. And the whole narrative she constructed is crumbling under the weight of her own behavior. No one did this to her. She did it to herself. All she had to do was be nice to people. All she had to do when the headline started to go negative is recognize that, hey, maybe I should change up my behavior. But she fundamentally can't do it. She cannot change her behavior. And as a result, the negative headlines are just going to continue. They're just going to get worse because Netflix will come out. More from Spotify will come out. All these people who worked at them will come out and say, hey, this was a mess. So Meghan Markle has no one to blame but herself. But us, you could say in the Mexican community, I don't totally consider myself part of that. But if you have been watching people who've been talking about Mexit, they were right. And that gives us a greater authority in some ways than the mainstream media. And this is why the mainstream media is failing, is that they were more willing to go with a narrative than report the truth. But we saw the truth either in her words or in her actions, and we shared it and we conjectured. And as it turns out, we were right. So go ahead, everybody, take a little bit of a victory lap today. And don't doubt sometimes what your eyes are telling you, because the media sometimes will legitimately try to gaslight you. It's terrible. It's horrible. It should never happen, but it does. So sometimes, not all the time, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, maybe, just maybe, it is. So guys, thank you so much again for your support for this channel and other Mexit channels, because we have been doing the work the mainstream media for some reason refused to do. So guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much again for watching, and I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye.